In a world of iron and sweat, few names echo with the power of a legend. This is the story of a man who redefined greatness, a man whose name is carved into the granite halls of bodybuilding history. This is the story of Ronnie Coleman, the King. Born in Monroe, Louisiana in 1964, Ronnie Dean Coleman didn't start out chasing fame or muscle. He grew up like many Southern kids, playing sports, working hard, and dreaming big. After graduating with a degree in accounting, Ronnie couldn't find work in his field, so he became a police officer in Arlington, Texas. But fate had other plans. Inside the gritty walls of Metroflex Gym, Ronnie met Brian Dobson, a former amateur bodybuilder who saw something raw in Ronnie. He offered him a free membership on one condition: compete in a bodybuilding show. Ronnie, of course, would say yes, and that decision would forever change the sport. Ronnie's early years in the sport were far from glorious. He placed low in competitions, often overshadowed by legends like Flex Wheeler and Kevin LeBron. But what Ronnie lacked in placings, he made up for in work ethic. While others trained to win, Ronnie trained like a man possessed. Morning patrols, afternoon workouts, late night cardio. He lived, breathed, and bled for the sport of bodybuilding.
Everybody want to be a bodybuilder,
This wasn't just a coach,
but don't
it was
nobody
a
want to live
warning.
no
In 1998, the bodybuilding world witnessed one of the greatest upsets of all time. Flex Wheeler was the favorite, aesthetic, experienced, dominant. But then came the underdog, Ronnie Coleman, a full-time police officer who trained like a machine. He wasn't just big, he was a freak. 245 pounds of shredded, symmetrical mass. When Ronnie turned around, the contest was over. His back looked like it was carved out of stone. Ronnie shocked the world and started a dynasty. From underdog to undeniable, 1998 was the rise of the king. And he didn't stop there. In 1999, the battle between mass and aesthetics reached its peak. Ronnie Coleman, Flex Wheeler, two giants, one stage. Flex Wheeler was the most complete physique artist of his era. Flawless shape, silky flow, a born poser. But Ronnie was a monster. 260 pounds of shredded muscle, bigger, thicker, freakier than ever. The crowd couldn't believe it. Flex had the beauty, Ronnie had the brutality. Pose for pose, Ronnie overpowered him, especially from the back. The rear double bicep, rear lat spread, game over. Although, as Ronnie began his dynasty, a new challenger would rise up from the woodwork. In 2001, the king faced his greatest threat, Ronnie Coleman, four-time Mr. Olympia, the undisputed freak of the stage. But this year, someone came to take his crown. His name was Jay Cutler. 28 years old, fresh, hungry, and in the best shape of his life. Jay came in shredded to the bone, dry, vascular, healed. His condition was unreal, possibly the best of his entire career. When the lights hit the stage, It was clear this wasn't gonna be the typical Ronnie walkover. Jay had the size, he had the shape, and for the first time in years, Ronnie looked vulnerable. The crowd losing their minds. The judges locked in. Ronnie was still enormous, still powerful, but he was off. Not quite the granite god from previous years. Pose after pose, Jay was holding his ground. Some even say winning. And then the decision came. Ronnie held on, barely. Jay had pushed the king to the edge, and fans knew it. Jay didn't win that title that night, but he won respect, and he proved that Ronnie, the king, a god, could in fact bleed. 2001 wasn't just another Olympia, it was a warning. A warning that Jay Cutler was coming. But for now, the king still ruled. In 2002, the king returned, but something was different. Ronnie Coleman, now five-time Mr. Olympia, was still on top, but his greatest rival, Jay Cutler, was nowhere to be seen. Jay sat out the 2002 Olympia, focusing on growth, recovery, and a long-term plan to dethrone the champ. But his absence didn't make the road easier for Ronnie. Ronnie came in off, not the dry, diced beast fans came to expect. His midsection was distended, his conditioning flat. He was still big, but far from his best. And someone else was ready to capitalize. Gunter Schlierkamp, the German giant, tall, shredded, and full of energy. When Gunter posed next to Ronnie, fans started booing the decision. It was one of the loudest crowd reactions in Olympia history. Ronnie still took the title, but it wasn't clean. It wasn't dominant. And many believed he should have lost. 2002 was a warning shot. Without Jay Cutler, Ronnie still struggled. And fans started asking the unthinkable. Is the king slipping? Meanwhile, in the shadows, Jay Cutler was growing, planning, waiting. 2002 may have been Ronnie's closest call, but it only made certain one thing. The real war was coming. In 2002, just weeks after winning his fifth Mr. Olympia, the unthinkable did, in fact, happen. Ronnie Coleman lost. At the GNC Show of Strength, Ronnie faced off against a rising star, Gunter Schlierkamp, the 6'1", 300-pound German powerhouse. Ronnie looked big, but off. His conditioning wasn't there. His midsection looked bloated. Gunter? Absolutely peeled. Full. Dry. Hungry. The judges made the call. Gunter Schlierkamp beat Ronnie Coleman. It was the first time Ronnie Coleman had lost since 1997, and it shook the bodybuilding world. The king had fallen, even if it was just for a night. And fans asked the question, is Ronnie still unbeatable? But Ronnie wasn't done. He took it personally. And in 2003, he came back like a monster. In 2002, the king stumbled. He was booed at the Olympia, defeated at the GNC Show of Strength. So people asked the question, is Ronnie Coleman done? In 2003, Ronnie finally answered. He walked into the 2003 Mr. Olympia at 287 pounds of pure muscle. Not just big, shredded, not just full, freaky. This was peak Ronnie, and nothing like the sport had ever seen. His back looked like it belonged to an alien, every striation, every muscle fiber visible from the nosebleeds. Even the biggest rivals knew this wasn't even close. Jay Cutler, Gunter Schlierkamp, Dexter Jackson, all great, but Ronnie, untouchable. No one had ever seen size and condition come together like this. Judges didn't debate, fans didn't argue. Ronnie Coleman didn't just win the 2003 Olympia, he dominated it. This was more than a comeback, it was a statement to the entire sport. 2003 was the peak of a legend, the biggest, hardest, most complete physique in bodybuilding history. Ronnie Coleman wasn't just Mr. Olympia, he was a walking monument to the impossible. In 2003, Ronnie Coleman became a true legend. At 287 pounds of shredded muscle, he dominated the Mr. Olympia stage like no one before him. 8-time Mr. Olympia, the title was his, undeniably. 2003, 2004, 2005. For 3 straight years, Ronnie reigned as the king. No one could touch him. His size, his conditioning, his freaky muscle mass, he was Mr. Olympia. This title was his, and many believed forever. But even champions face challenges. And in 2006, it finally happened. 2006 was different. Ronnie wasn't the same. Years of intense training, endless injuries, and surgeries began to catch up with him. His physique was still massive, but the conditioning, it wasn't there. His midsection was bloated, his lower back wasn't as crisp. He looked off. On the other side, Jay Cutler, now bigger, sharper, and more focused than ever. He came into the 2006 Mr. Olympia with a new edge, his conditioning near perfect, his confidence sky high. The judges had to decide between size and conditioning. Ronnie had the size, but Jay had the sharpness. It wasn't just about who was bigger, it was about who looked better on stage. In a historic moment, it happened. Ronnie Coleman, after 8 consecutive victories, lost the Mr. Olympia crown. It wasn't just a loss, it was an end of an era. But even in defeat, Ronnie remained humble. With a smile, he passed the torch to Jay Cutler, the new king of bodybuilding. For Jay Cutler, it was the culmination of years of hard work. For Ronnie, it was a reminder of the price of greatness. But Ronnie's legacy was secure. 8 Sandows, the most massive conditioned physique the sport had ever seen. 2006 marked the end of one era, but it also laid the foundation for a new chapter. Ronnie Coleman's name would forever be synonymous with dominance, and even in his loss, he showed the world what it meant to be a true champion. For nearly a decade, Ronnie Coleman was unstoppable. 8 Mr. Olympias, the biggest, the hardest, the most complete physique bodybuilding had ever seen. But greatness has a price. The constant grind of heavy weights, the brutal training, Ronnie's body paid the cost. Numerous injuries, endless surgeries. By the time Ronnie retired from bodybuilding, his body was a shadow of his former self. Multiple back injuries, hip replacements, chronic pain. It seemed that the weight of the world had broken him down. Yet, even as his body deteriorated, Ronnie's spirit remained unbroken. Yes, he couldn't squat 800 pounds anymore, but he still worked out. He still trained. He still fought. Ronnie showed the world that being a champion isn't about what you can lift, it's about what you can overcome. It's about heart, the resilience, the will to never give up. While many have crumbled, Ronnie stood tall. His body was broken, but his mind and heart were as strong as ever. Being a champion isn't about the trophies or titles, it's about who you are when no one is watching, when the lights are off, and when the crowds have gone home. It's about the strength inside you that keeps you going even when everything is falling apart. Ronnie may have walked away from the stage, but his legacy, it's eternal. A legacy of greatness, resilience, and of what it means to be a true champion. The king of bodybuilding may have retired, but Ronnie Coleman will always be a champion in spirit, in heart, and in history. He was an inspiration. He redefined the word dedication, and he left a mark on the iron game that may never be matched. Ronnie didn't just win titles, he became a myth, a legend, an immortal. This was the story of Ronnie Coleman, the king of bodybuilding. If you did in fact enjoy this video, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This has been the Modern Bodybuilder. Thank you for watching.
Mama, we got us a lifetime achievement award. Thank you.